Since the beginning of the pandemic, all sports seasons have been put on pause with no answer on the horizon when they'll return. In this video, we'll take a look at the complications that the players, coaches, and the athletic director have experienced during the pandemic.
Yeah, when that news came about last year, the hope is that it would be 2 to 3 weeks and things would get better, and then we would be able to get back to maybe playing some sports or finishing the semester. But as we all know, that didn't happen, and 3 weeks grew into 3 months, 3 months grew into now almost a year. So it's been a tough year for student athletes all across the country and all across the world. But when that first hit last March, the hope is that we would get by that quickly, but yet here still we are. We would meet weekly as a staff via Zoom call, and then I would talk to probably every coach at least one time in that week to be able to talk about their program, their student athletes, and how we need to manage them getting through that initial period. And even today, we meet every 2 weeks as a department, and then I speak with individuals, every single day on how we can better their program or their students. But communication is often, and it's in multiple platforms. We've seen a roller coaster of emotion in the past 12 months. We've had some ups and we've had some downs. We've had some moments that are unexpected and unknown. And I think that's where the emotional roller coaster sits, is the fear of the unknown, right? And that equals anxiety. And so in able to try to do that, we try to keep communicating with kids, keep them abreast of what's going on, and try to find ways to keep them engaged. We have certain activities now this semester that we were able to do a little more consistently. Saturday fun days, Cyclone Cup days that we've had where we play kickball or wiffle ball. Our sports are able to practice a little bit more now than maybe they did in the fall. So keeping them engaged is important. I rely on my coaches heavily for that with team meetings and Zoom calls. We're all getting sick and tired of Zoom calls and online calls. So getting the kids engaged, keeping them safe, wearing masks, and doing the things we need to do to make sure that they can still have fun, but being safe in the process. I've learned a lot in the last 12 months. I learned that no day is given, that you need to appreciate each day. You need to appreciate the people around you each day. And I think by surrounding yourself with people of same character and faith, we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna get through the next few months here.
Well, I think the hardest part about being a student athlete during this pandemic, especially going into the spring season, was any resource we normally would have had to practice in an upcoming season we didn't have this year. So normally we'd be in the gyms, we'd be inside the facilities, and we'd be on the field whenever we needed it. But with everything shut down, there's such limited access to everything that now we only get to practice an hour a day. We can't go to gyms together, and just not having those resources that we normally have really messes it up. I think that most guys on our team have really stepped up and put in the work that they could during the pandemic. I know it was very hard for a lot of guys to get out and go to the practices we had inside during the winter. It's still coming out today with this very scattered schedule to make practice, but the work ethic's been really great, and a lot of guys are really making the most out of it. I think that the way teams prepared and trained leading up to this season is going to be somewhat reflected in their performance and the way the standings go. But I think what will show more than anything outside the standings is the fitness level. I think there's only so much that coaches can get done tactically with a group in a month span. So what's going to reflect on the scoreboards to me, I think, is going to be the fitness and the work people did outside to be prepared to run for 90 minutes again after being sat out all fall.
This past fall, a lot of challenges virtually compared to in person. One, I would say the biggest thing was just being able to connect with the team and convey messages to them. We had, like everybody, tons of Zoom meetings, group chats, WhatsApp, just about everything. So just communication and kind of keeping a group on the same page was difficult. We have quite a few internationals from all around the world, so communicating with them in different time zones and things like that made it challenging. But yeah, I would say just the communication end of it and keeping everybody on the same page was the biggest challenge of being virtual. Yeah, so right now we're able to train, we get 19 practices in a 45-day window, so On a typical week, we'll practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 4 times a week out on the field, and then we're able to do some virtual team meetings, some film review through Zoom and things like that. We're not able to meet as a group. We can meet individually, but we're not allowed team meetings like we traditionally do. So we've done more film sessions through Zoom, but usually 4 times a week out on the field. The recruiting process was affected beyond what anybody could imagine. For us, as an example, using us, we are returning 5 of us 6 seniors. So in a traditional year, we would have probably brought in 8 players for those 6 spots, or recruited 8 guys for those 6 spots. Now we're only going to recruit a few. So that's made it really challenging. I think the current seniors in high school and even the juniors are really seeing the negative impact of seniors coming back all around the country. There's kids that I know that are seniors that are still looking for places just because they thought they were going to one school. Seniors decided they were coming back, so there's either not scholarship money or even a roster spot, so they're scrambling. But yeah, the shutdown, and it stopped club soccer essentially for 4 months. And we were in a dead period for, I think, about 6 months where we weren't allowed any off-campus recruiting. Division I still in the dead period, so that's made it challenging on the Division I side of things. So yeah, the pandemic has completely turned recruiting upside down.
Luckily, the light at the end of the tunnel is here. Players are now able to take the field once again, of course with extra safety precautions, in addition to the normal pads and skin guards usually needed.